guys, how you all doing? Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. So guys, today we're going to be discussing how to behave or how to act when living with people in order for you to have an easy stay with people. So when I talk of live with people, I mean maybe squatting with people or staying with people for a short time, or in the interim while you maybe do your work before you go back to your base or before you get a place, or just basically how to live at peace with people. Like I said, I've been saying most of the things I would like to be discussing on my channel are not things that honestly I've not gone through, or most of the things I want to be discussing on this YouTube channel are things I've experienced, experiences I've had, lessons I've learned, you know, and I just want to share with you people. These are not, whatever it is I'm sharing today are not things I got off the internet. Like I would always give a background story. For me, I've had to stay with people, you know, in time past. The first time I think I had to stay with someone, you know, for some time was during my NYSC, when I was posted to the state I was supposed to serve. So after the camp, before I got my own accommodation, I needed to stay with somebody. So I had to stay with my mom's best friend in that state for like 2 months before I was able to settle properly and then get my own place and move. And also after NYSC, I didn't go back to my state. Immediately, I moved back to Abuja. As I was leaving, you know, where I was serving, I just came back to Abuja for, you know, let's call it greener pastures. And for me at that time, I couldn't afford the rent and I had to stay with somebody. I had to squat with someone for, in fact, a long period of time, up to a year. And honestly, one of the things I would say is this person I stayed with has said it times without number that she has not been able to stay with anybody except me. Usually when she stays with people, after a short time, you know, they begin to have issues. But I'm like that one friend that she was able to stay with for a long time, and we had a good stay, and even till today we have a very good relationship. And honestly, not only her, after that in Abuja, I've had to stay with 1 or 2 other people, you know, before I was able to now start paying Abuja rent. You know what they say about Abuja, the greatest challenge for people in Abuja is accommodation. The rent is not easy here. So so those years I had to move from one place to another because sometimes it was even because of work. I needed somewhere closer to my workplace, so I would move in with this auntie or move in with, yes, basically aunties. And the truth of the matter is, I've never, like, this video is out there and I'm sure some of them are, if not all of them, are going to watch, and I've never had an issue. Like, usually by the time I'm leaving, it's like, oh, you're leaving us, why now? You know, because of these tips I was able to apply to ensure that I live peacefully with my host and to ensure I don't cross boundaries. Things, if you do, honestly, you're going to have good time and not have any issues with people you're staying with or your host in whatever city you choose to be staying in. So first of all, the first thing I want to say is, if you know you were going to be staying with somebody or you want to squat with somebody, the first thing is your mindset. Work on your mindset. The first thing you ought to do is to remove entitlement mentality. If you have to stay with somebody, know that that space is that person's and not yours. So you really don't have a right. You don't have any entitlements. The person is just being kind enough to accommodate you for a period of time. So just know that you're not entitled to anything, and also know that you will be inconvenienced. Condition your mind for inconveniences. You understand? It's not your space. You did not pay the rent. So just know that it's not going to come at your own convenience. Honestly, it's like people that enter taxi, you know, like taxi with 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, like the case is in Nigeria, and you see how someone wants to be very comfortable in a car that, you know, you are just boarding for. No, it's not that way. You would be inconvenienced. You have to squeeze yourself for the period you are in that car, because it is not your car. Like I always tell people, if you vex, go and buy your own car. You understand? So that is how it is with accommodation. If you have to squat with somebody, it is not yours. So you have to inconvenience yourself and not get unnecessarily angry, or, well, like I said, remove entitlement mentality. So that's the first thing you ought to do. Work on your mindset. So guys, I also have my notes here because I penned some of these things down. So I'll be looking into my notes to see what I penned down. Then the second thing is, if you have to stay with somebody, you should be willing to abide by the house rules. People have rules for their homes. Like I said earlier, when I finished my NYC, I came to Abuja and I needed to stay with someone, with a friend. And when I came, she had her house rules. Where the bathroom slippers outside, you cannot, for me, all those things, I was not used to them. I've also stayed with someone that, oh, once you're done bathing, you must mop immediately. You can imagine done bathing and you're carrying mop to mop the bathroom and things like that. But those are their rules. That is how they want to live. So if you are with them, you must be willing to respect whatever rules they have or whatever it is they choose to do with their houses or with their own space. So you have to abide by their rules. There are people that will tell you, oh, you cannot come back beyond 7 or beyond 9 or things like that. Honestly, you cannot stay with people and then you're breaking their rules, breaking their house rules. So the first point for me to staying or coexisting peacefully with people you're temporarily staying with is to abide by their house rules, but also staying with another family. And one thing they do is when you eat, you must wash your plate immediately. There's nothing like dumping it in the sink later for somebody to come and wash. No, you must wash it immediately. Well, for me, where I was coming from, when you eat, you keep it for someone to wash it later. But because I was there at that time, I had to learn. So anytime I cook, or maybe see, even if it is spoon, even if it is cup you drink water with, you have to wash it and drop it back properly. So I had to learn that in order for me not to have problems with my host. Thirdly, I would say don't stay home all day. If you're staying with people, guys, find something to do. Always go out. People get tired of you when you stay in their house from morning till evening, not doing anything, probably just watching TV, using their subscription, the subscription that they are not using, because they have to go to work, and you are staying all day. Please, or except it is your own father's house. If it is not your father's house, find something to do or go somewhere in the daytime. Don't just be at home, watching TV, sleeping, eating. In fact, people would get tired of you easily. So find something to do. If you're in a place, maybe you're staying with family or you're staying with a friend, hopefully, to get a job or, get something doing eventually. Guys, go out and look for those jobs or go and volunteer somewhere. But don't just stay indoors. Honestly, like, that has never happened to me that I stayed with people and I would stay. In fact, when I have to stay with, like, even when I was doing my master's, at some point I had to be staying with people. You will never catch me in their houses in the afternoon. I have gone somewhere. I will either go and read or I will just go somewhere. Do you understand? So that they can have that space, you understand, and they don't think that you're just lazing about and using, up space and subscription and things in the house that they are not using because they have to be at work. So please find something to do. Don't just stay in people's houses all day if you're squatting. My fourth point would be learn to contribute to house chores. Guys, if you're staying with people, learn to contribute to house chores. Learn to contribute to cleaning. Learn to contribute to putting the place together. Don't just sleep and wake up. Honestly, if you do that, you just sleep and you wake up and you don't have any meaningful contribution, the truth is people would get tired of you. Like one of my aunts I had to stay with at some points, I remembered how, in a way like never before, I would go in and wash the toilets. Like weekends, I would wash with the tiles on the wall. And when she comes back, she's like, wow, because she sees the difference. But then also another thing I would want to say is sometimes don't overdo it. Know your host, know whoever it is you're staying with. There are people that, naturally are not well put together, and maybe they love their spaces that way. Don't go and overdo and start entering the person's personal space, or personal properties to start arranging. No, like you can help with chores in common areas like the living room, the kitchen, the bathrooms, but do not start going into somebody's personal space to, no. Please don't do that. That will also become a problem because someone will think you're trying to show them that they don't know what they're doing, or they are not put together, and you're the person that is put together and you're trying to. So don't do that. But guys, always contribute to house chores and keeping things in order when you stay with people. The next point I would also, it's almost like this last point I gave. It's to always contribute to the house. So when it comes to feeding, toiletries for the house, when it comes to supplies for the house, guys, always learn to contribute. Maybe you may not have the money, but little things. Don't just stay with people and you eat their food. Sometimes you even want to eat 3 square meals and you don't contribute anything. Guys, please don't do that. When you stay with people, learn to also contribute. learn to buy food. You must, even if you cannot buy like rice or major food, things like milk, things like sugar. You understand? You go into the restroom, you use the restroom, buy things like tissue paper, buy things like soap. The little you can also contribute. Don't just stay with people and add, already you staying in their space is burden for them. But then you're adding to the burden by feeding of them. You understand? Eating their food and not contributing, using their toiletries, using supplies and not contribute. Guys, please don't do that. When you have to stay with someone, be a contributor. Don't have a taker's mentality. Always have a giver's mentality. When you stay with people, learn to give. Give a lot. In fact, that for me is a strong how will I say, is a strong point. Will I say point, or is a strong thing I do when I stay with people? I ensure I always contribute. I ensure I buy food. I ensure I buy beverages. I ensure I buy supplies. So at least for the period I'm staying with anybody, or I have to squat with anybody, I reduce that burden for the person. So that's this point I'm giving you has helped me in time past, and people would love you for it. The next point I want to say is give space to your host or whoever you're staying with if need arises or if need be. Honestly, like, I've heard cases of people that would say, I was staying with Timo and then he brought his girlfriend to the house and something, and then you get angry and then they begin to have issues with, their host. Guys, most especially guys, people go the extra mile to rent apartments for themselves just to have that space, to have that freedom. You understand? To host whoever they choose to. So if they allow you come stay for a while, guys, if they need that space, maybe they say, oh, I want someone to come see me or anything, guys, be prepared. And that's why I told you from the beginning that be ready to be inconvenienced. If you're staying with anybody, know that it comes with a lot of inconvenience. So be ready for it. So for me personally, what I always do is whenever I have to stay with somebody, or I'm traveling for work somewhere and I will stay with somebody, I make sure that is, I try as much as I can to ensure that that is not my only arrangement. I have other arrangements just in case somebody says, oh, okay, I need somebody around, and you understand, I've moved to the next place, to my next arrangement, you understand, until I can return back there. So always have backup plans, always have alternative plans. Don't just, even if it is paying for a hotel or an affordable place to stay overnight while the person, you understand, don't come and fight with somebody because and the person said, I want somebody to come and visit me. I'm sure people understand what I'm saying. And then you're being angry. Like, I've heard this. In fact, this particular one is a cause of major problem when people stay together, or when someone is squatting with somebody. You're angry with the person because he brought another guest. Please don't do that. It's his money, it's her money. They paid for that space. They know what it took them to get that space. So please respect that. Next point would be that do not just bring visitors, you understand, or barge in on your host with visitors. Guys, don't do that. If you need to bring a visitor to the house you're squatting or the house you're living in temporary with people, always inform them. They shouldn't just be sitting and one day you just bring in somebody, a friend comes to visit. Most especially when the friend is of opposite sex, it's usually a problem. So if you know you want someone to come and visit you, or someone says, oh, okay, you're in my town, let me come and visit you, and things like that, make sure you tell your host that, please, I want someone to come and visit me, and take permission. Know if they're comfortable with it. If they're not comfortable with it, then probably take your visitor somewhere else. You can sit out somewhere else and just hang out with your visitor. So don't just badge visitors on your host. It's not a nice thing. Trust me, guys. Always take permission. Let me just give a small apology here. The road around my estate is being constructed, so a lot of noise, external noise, so please ignore that. The last point would be that you should learn to always gift your hosts, or show them appreciation once in a while. Don't just stay with people and you don't show any form of appreciation. Once in a while, buy them things they love. I remember this one time I was staying with my aunt. I just stayed for like a few weeks because I was doing something and I needed to stay with her. And my aunt really loves to take Guinness. Guys, is it Guinness? I think Guinness extra smooth, and I knew that. So I would always, sometimes, when I'm done from work, I would go to ShopRite and then just buy the canned ones for her and just bring it home and give her. And in fact, because of that, she loved me so much. I would just put them in the refrigerator for her to cool, you understand? So I would always give her things like that. And not only her, so many people, you know, when I stay with you for a period of time, maybe for work or things, and I'm going, you understand, I'm leaving, I buy a gift and I gift them. And even while I'm staying there, I buy little gifts once in a while. Or even when I'm leaving, I stock up their kitchen. I buy provisions and I just stock up the kitchen. And while I'm there, I'm always showing appreciation, always telling them thank you for letting me stay with them. Don't just stay with people and then you don't show appreciation. Always say, oh, thank you for letting me stay. It's not easy for people to open the doors of their homes to visitors. So learn to always show appreciation or get gifts for your host. So guys, like I said, these are things I've experienced myself. These are things I've had to do in time past. I've never really had problem with any host or anybody I had to stay with or scout with for a period of time. So I hope you two are able to apply some of these things, and maybe you see your relationship with people you have to stay with, you know, gets better. Try these things. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe if you've watched up to this point. I'm really grateful. I'm grateful to you, family and friends that have been following. I'm so grateful. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed, and please comment, tell me what you think about this video, and share this video to let other people see. Let's spread the love. So guys, until next time, have a blessed day. Enjoy yourself. Bye.